Hello, welcome back to HCS Weekly, your weekly destination for all things HCS. I'm your host, ShyWay. We're back yet again with more news and more interviews. And of course, we are so close to DreamHack Dallas or DreamHack Anaheim. Oh my God, I'm getting mixed up already. We're about 3 weeks out already for DreamHack Anaheim. We got our first PC, Halo on PC tournament. It's going to be pretty exciting. We've got whole new rosters, new players. We got the return of past champions, which is also very exciting because we got some past champions joining us on today's episode of HCS Weekly that I'm very excited to talk to. So from this week out, we got a lot of DreamHack Anaheim to talk to look at, to analyze, to make predictions on. It's going to be a good time over the next few weeks. So stay with us. Before we get there, we've got our news, of course, with MattyRums from NoobCombo.com. Let's talk news. Matty, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, dude, how are you?
I'm all right, man.
I don't blame you for the Dallas slip up. Every time I type something on the site, I always, second guess myself. Is it Anaheim? Is that right?
There must have been like 3 different locations that came up into my head. I had like Dallas, Atlanta, Atlantic City, like all these. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, shoot. All right. It's Anaheim. But it's just there's so many DreamHack events. You mix them up. But we're here. Anaheim. We got it. What's up, man? What do we got today?
Start with the usual playlist updates. In MCC Halo Reach, you have a lot of social changes. In Social 1v1, they removed Magnums as your secondary weapon.
Okay.
In Social 4v4,
what was it? So in Social 1v1, they had Magnum as a secondary, and
they removed it.
Right. Was it a DMR Magnum start originally, or was it an AR?
AR.
So you just have an AR to start in a 1v1?
Well, that's another change. In 1v1, I don't know. They changed the whole AR thing in Social and in 4v4, which is next. In Social 4v4, right, they replaced Team Slayer. They made it into 2 different ones. There's Precision Auto Slayer and Precision Slayer is the DMR starts. Auto Slayer has the AR starts.
Interesting.
Apparently, some people liked autos and other people like DMR, so they just made it into 2.
I can't believe I remember reading the tweet about something like that, and people were getting upset that there were actually there was an auto specific playlist or anything that had to do with autos in a playlist in Social. It's like, come on, let the casuals have their moment.
Yeah,
you got to put precision weapons in everything. But anyway, that's cool. So you got an option here if you want to play autos Social or if you want to play precision Social 4v4. We got some Halo CE anniversary stuff. Any tease on that? I can't wait for some Halo CE PC.
Yeah, they did. They talked about it in the development update at the end of January. But for Reach, similar to H5, they have a CE anniversary playlist. Right. So they added that into Social 4v4.
Okay.
And then for Social 8v8, they added AR starts to all 8v8 modes. They replaced territories with 3-plot territories on Tempest. Excuse me. And then for King of the Hill, they changed the movement timer from 120 seconds down to 90 and the score to win from 250 to 200.
Okay.
Again, that's Social 8 versus 8.
Hopefully those are good changes for that community. I'm not a Social 8v8 player. I don't know about you, Matty.
I dabble.
You dabble?
I dabble.
Hopefully those are good changes. Hopefully they like them. We got Halo 5 changes as well.
Right. This whole month, they're doing double XP in the doubles playlist for celebrating Valentine's Day and all that. And then starting on the 6th, Mythic Rumble comes in for free for all.
Some people are excited about this. This is the Halo 5 Mythic settings, the hybrid playlist, which is really cool.
It's a lot of fun. I had fun with it.
Yeah. It's kind of like like evolved classic settings is kind of how I see it. It still has the same type of pacing that you would get with classic Halo, but you have advanced mechanics present as well. So it's a pretty interesting hybrid. Definitely recommend trying it out if you haven't already. So there's that February 6th.
Yeah, and then also CE anniversary throwback gets rotated out for Roman King.
Cool.
On the 6th as well.
Cool. We've got some more development, flighting updates. Looks like there's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of stuff. I'm not covering all of it because it's a very long post over by Postums, but you can check it out on Halo Waypoint. But they talked a little bit about upcoming flighting, and their goal is to have flighting for Rings 1 and 2 of Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary this weekend.
Nice. But
it's just a goal. It's not a actually, by the time that posted, that was last weekend.
So wait, they
map,
meant like just this past weekend they wanted to do
it
it?
was
Was the
posted on
goal?
the 29th, so
Yeah, we don't know. A
yeah.
little
But
ambiguous. Yeah.
so we should expect something soon.
Yeah.
Well, make sure you
That's the
follow
good news.
postums.
Yeah. Follow
But then
postings on Twitter, guys.
yeah, then for campaign missions in the flight, you have Truth and Reconciliation, Silent Cartographer, Assault on the Control Room, and 343 Guilty Spark.
Okay.
And then for multiplayer, the maps that we're going to be getting is Blood Gulch, Chill Out, Damnation, Hang 'em High, Prisoner, and Sidewinder.
Cool.
So a nice mix of maps.
Right. So whether you're playing campaign or multiplayer, there's a lot of different stuff to try out in this first flight, I guess, which is cool.
They also described in the post that they're making changes to the progression system. They've adjusted XP for certain games and certain game modes. So, for example, I think in Halo 3, you didn't earn medals as easily as in Halo Reach. So they adjusted the values of the medals in Halo 3.
Okay.
So you earn, I guess, an even amount across, no matter what game mode and game you're playing.
I just read the next one.
Yeah, they talked about the veto system and how they considered it, and it's not happening, at least for now.
Damn it.
They're worried about people quitting out because people voting for the same map over and over and over again, things like that. Which is true.
That is the risk, but yeah. I mean, if you have a good collection of maps to choose from, then it's not as bad. But I guess if there's one map that people love more than the others, I remember back Halo 4 veto system was just Haven over and over.
Well, just think if it was the beginning of Halo Reach, how often everyone would be, vetoing penance. No one.
Well,
you'd never.
Yeah. They'd veto it every time, and you wouldn't have to worry about people complaining about it as much.
There'd be that one guy who loves it and never gets to play it.
Yeah, you just get teased by it, I guess. I don't know.
But they also mentioned. Did you hear that?
I heard it, man. Sounds like you got to go check that out right when we finish.
Because I live by myself.
Right.
They also talked about new crouch behavior, remapping the text chat, and remapping the push to talk button.
Okay. The crouch behavior is huge, by the way.
Yes.
I don't know. Do we know when we're going to get that?
No.
Okay. Well, hopefully we get that soon, guys. New crouch behavior meaning we can crouch in our movement, that's a big change in movement, especially if you're a mouse and keyboard player. It's going to feel a lot more natural to move around in Halo Reach, which is very nice. Okay, we got SWAT Nation stuff. We got some more tournaments. Let's get into these quick now.
Yeah, well, this isn't a tournament, but they announced they're taking applications, I guess, for their ambassador program.
Right.
So if you would like to represent the organization, either cast tournaments, be a streamer, ref tournaments, or moderate Discord and Facebook, you can go to swatnation.net and apply there.
Yeah. Highly recommend it, guys. If you want to get started with casting, this is a great place to start. SWAT Nation do regular events. They get pretty good viewership. Despite being Halo events, they have good prize pools. They're well loved by the Halo community. Just really good starting ground. If you want to try casting, go check out SWAT Nation.
They host like 2 tournaments a month or something like that. So there's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
And then for tournament results, we had DreamHack Anaheim qualifier number 3. First place was Mantra, Boobadooboo, Ace, Falcated, and Spartan. Second place was IDK, Rain, Ryan, Noob, King Nick, and Reliable.
I love how they come in with the most lazy team name and they come second place.
Yeah. And then third went to Tox Gaming, Snakebite, Lethal, APG, Royal 2.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people, just figured they would take all of them, but nice little shakeup.
Yeah, makes me even more excited for DreamHack Anaheim.
Mm-hmm.
So some interesting stuff to talk about there as far as the qualifier results. Upcoming tournaments.
Yeah, tomorrow we have Game Sharks and Pen Halos online Halo Reach 2v2. Saturday we have DreamHack qualifier number 4, which is the final one. And if you live in Fairfax, Virginia, there's a Halo Reach 4v4 at The Cave on PC.
Awesome. Sweet.
And then Sunday the 9th, Halo Project Brazil is having a Halo 5 2v2. And Nap Times has a new, branch called Tourney Times. He's the one who hosts all the SWAT Nation tournaments.
Right, he does this, and it looks like it's another SWAT.
Yeah, he's doing a Halo 5 Mythic SWAT 2v2.
Okay.
And that's also Sunday, February 9th.
Right. So a lot of exciting stuff there. If you're, a local of these locations, or you can do some of these online tournaments as well. A lot of different places to play some Halo and improve at the craft, all in time for DreamHack Anaheim, which is what we're all excited about. Matty, thank you so much for joining me for the news today, guys. You can check out this news on noobcombo.com. You can follow all of those locations on Twitter that we mentioned as well, but I'm sure all of that will be on Noob Combo.
Yep.
But thank you, Matty, for joining me.
You got it. I got to go check that out now.
Yes. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
All right, that's everything for the news today. I'm excited to welcome our two guests on the show, our returning champions in Halo. We got Neighbor and Hysteria.
Hey, thanks for having us, ShyWay. It's awesome to be here, man.
Yeah, happy to have you guys. Neighbor, it's nice to see you again, man. One of my favorite episodes of HCS Weekly was having you on the show. How you been, man?
Yeah, that was a great talk. I've been actually good. It's been, an interesting last few months since the last Halo 3 event. Where I wasn't going to play, and then I ended up last minute, about 4 or 5 days before the event, flying straight to Atlanta and teaming with a team that practiced once. But yeah, and here we are now, and I'm back and trying to get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, I mean, I understand your position. I'd pick on you, but you are one of many Halo players who say they're retired and they come back, within the next month. I think Lethal commented on it. He said
he did.
He's got a list. He's got a list going.
Yeah, that is kind of annoying because for me personally, when I've retired before, right? I worked for 343 for 4 years, and so I obviously couldn't play. And that was a decision that was really hard for me because I knew I wanted to compete. I was still going to Halo 4 AGL events where there's 70 competitors. It was like a local LAN, just to show like how passionate I am about competing. But I mean, more so for this more recent retirement. I actually I don't really share my life on social media, but I'll clear the air. I lost a family member during about a couple months back, and it was just really challenging, and Halo was really the last thing on my mind.
Right.
And so after going through that whole experience and receiving the phone call the day after, from my teammates, the day after the service, I was in a much better place. And so I said, why not? If this team needs help, let's do this. So that's kind of what happened. And so I'm really happy now. Things are good, and I'm on a great team with some great players, and really looking forward to this event.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry about your loss, but I'm happy that you're back.
Thanks.
The community is happy to have you back. So you can stay a while, just get comfy.
Hey, that's the plan. And I'll tell you this, I'm the oldest one in the scene right now, but I
really? Are you really the oldest? You don't look the oldest, though.
I am. No, I'm 29 and I'm turning 30 on the 17th of this month. So it's coming up, and I'm terrified,
Dinosaur.
but I don't know what to do. It's
You'll be okay. Hysteria, nice to meet you, man. I got a chance to watch some of your gameplay. You were very talented. How you been? How you enjoying Halo Reach and coming back to Halo? I know you've been playing Fortnite, and you caught the wave for a little while, but it looks like you're not as much of a Fortnite guy these days.
I mean, the nature of Fortnite in general is just too random for me to handle for more than 2 years, and it's just even coming back and playing Reach is just nice to have a structured, consistent game.
Yeah.
Where I'm not constantly stressed out of my mind over everything, especially obviously the Fortnite money and how huge it was nice, but I mean obviously with huge prize pools comes a huge amount of stress.
Yeah.
And you only have control over so much in that game versus Halo, you can't even practice Fortnite.
It's weird, isn't it?
Well, they finally added custom games, right? Exactly. So people could organize scrims, but there was, almost 2 years of competitive Fortnite where you're sitting in a Discord with 200 people trying to match into the same game, and that's how you practice. And it's
that sounds fun.
Instead of we go to a lane in Halo 3 and we're playing 4 11-game series a day, and it's the most efficient thing you could ever do. And then I do Fortnite, and you get into a game after an hour finally, and you die off the drop, and you're like, oh, all right, I guess I'll sit here doing nothing.
This is the huge issue with Battle Royale that I hate, is these games are so popular. So you got to have an esports scene for a game that's so popular, but they're not designed to be competitive esports games. I saw on Twitter earlier today, Snipe Down talking about Apex he dreamed that Apex had an arena mode and how sick it would be, like if it was like Halo, kind of in that style. Because, like you said, one of the issues that you go with Battle Royale is there's this RNG, or you have to join a Discord. Same with Apex, or same with Fortnite. You got to be in this Discord. You just try to join into the same game. There's no system. There's no framework set for it. It's like, it's wild, man. But you're back in Halo. Has things been going okay in Halo so far?
Yeah, it's been good. It's unfortunate that the first PC launch was Reach, but I mean, I think it's better than if they had done like Halo 1. I don't think it would have caught as much traction. True. But at least we have a PC launch finally.
But let's all be clear though. They missed a big opportunity by not launching Halo 2 first. Like that was
Halo 2 first. What about Halo 3? Are you guys I feel like Neighbor, you'd be burned out of Halo 3 because you guys were playing it the last year.
Yeah. It's not that I can still play Halo 3. I love that game, but Halo 2 was just, in my opinion, it is the best Halo 4v4 competitive game.
You're saying?
Yeah, H2 Classic. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, and then if you think about all the different playlists that game had at launch, I mean, it's a game built for everyone. Right. And, that would have been fun to see, especially if they brought back clan match. They could have just done so much great stuff with that. And so it's kind of a bummer. Yeah. But looking forward to it when it does come out very much.
The sick thing about H2 is the competitive community would have loved to play it. The only drawback is the look of it, like the graphics, like does it hold up to the broader community? But the big thing is like the pros who are playing it are loving it and they can say good things about it, and that could kind of grow something.
Well, I think the argument is, like a game like Super Smash Brothers Melee, is still widely popular, and in comparison to it does. It really does. And so I think as long as the audience is there and the gameplay is enticing for the fans and the players are loving it, then I think you'd have a solid product.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sometimes graphics don't matter if the members of the community love it enough and they can put it up on that pedestal, then you get a community born out of that even.
Yeah.
Let's dive into some stuff on Twitter here just to get things started. Apparently, Neighbor, you're competing under a new gamer tag, or you're thinking of competing under a new gamer tag.
God.
DH Anaheim. What's this all about, dude?
Honestly, so this kind of ties in with how long I've been in the scene. I've been competing since 2005. That was my first MLG. So I've been doing this for a really, really, really long time.
Okay.
And I kind of feel like, Neighbor, with me turning 30, I feel like Neighbor is just a little, it's gone too long. And I feel like I need to kind of reinvent myself.
All right.
And one of my favorite movies back in the day, because, like I said, I'm turning 30, and I'm thinking of all these childhood movies I could watch before I turned 30, and Flubber came up. And, with the whole Baby Yoda hype coming around, I think Flubber is right in that category of a cute little green thing.
It's cute.
And on top of that, I think it'd be hilarious to hear, the commentators, whether it's Brav or I don't know if Lottie's still doing it, but having them say Flubber. Yeah, that's kind of like the main idea behind that. That was kind of the inspiration.
This is like, you actually thought about this. It's not just some little joke. You're like,
no, it was not a joke. I asked my teammates.
The internet loves Baby Yoda. Internet will love Flubber. Does this have marketing potential?
Yeah, no, I asked my teammates too, and they were for it. I have a tag on that I use. That I don't know. I think it strikes some fear into the competitors, but I think a team like Tox wouldn't really take it too seriously. So we're sticking with Neighbor for this one.
Well, I think Neighbor has a legacy, whether you like Neighbor or not, there's a good legacy there, and keep it going, man. Neighbor's pretty solid. Yeah. We got one more little thing from you is I've never heard of this term used in Halo before, but let's take a look at this scoreboard real quick. You can't read it. I can't read it from here, but it says we got lollipopped.
Oh my God. That was a hilarious game. We played it. I think it was what was it? Sank flag? Something like, I don't know. It was some flag match, and we knew that we goosed someone on their team, which, whenever someone's goosing, you have that feeling, if you really run through a team. And at the end of the match, this guy said, we got lollipops. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? And I look over at the scoreboard, and the 3 1s and a 0 made the lollipop. And I said, that is absolutely hilarious. I just started cracking up because I've never heard that term throughout the time that I've been playing. And so that is something we are trying to do at DreamHack Anaheim to other teams.
Lollipop some teams. So basically you got the top score was 0 and the other 3 teammates had 1-1-1.
Had one, yep.
Yeah, that's
made
pretty
a
dope.
sucker. Yeah.
All right. Well, I couldn't find any gameplay for me. You haven't been streaming too much recently, neighbor. Hopefully we get to see some of that. But
Yep.
Hysteria, on the other hand, has been hitting some nasty clips. Let's watch one together. We're gonna watch the Battle Creek clip. This one pretty exciting. Here we are. Walk me through it, Hysteria. These guys keep challenging you.
Yeah, I'm not sure what level account this was, but I don't think it was level 50.
Right.
Okay, triple kill. Okay, so I've never seen this clip before, but I expect to see this tonight.
No, there's more. There's more.
Is there more?
Yeah, he said, "Why do you keep challenging me?" And then he gets another triple.
No, you just click change profile on your name.
Well, he's casually talking to his chat.
You think they would stop challenging me?
Wow, very impressive.
Never overkill. Never overkill.
You know, ShyWay, that's just what Jacob does. That's why he's on the team. That's what he's known for.
Jacob, never overkill, or you think you're a little cursed recently? What's going on? You think it's over?
I was on a dry spell for a while, but I've been mixing them in now. They come in waves. I saw your Zealot clips. Like the overkills seem to come easy for you on Zealot, at least. Like I don't know if you're watching the single Halo clips videos, but there's for like 3 weeks there was like a Hysteria clip in there of you getting like an over or a kill tack or something in Zealot. I guess it's like the smallest map, so it's kind of easy. Well, and there's less spawns, so it's easier to predict where they're gonna be.
Right.
It's just no big deal for this guy. I love it. I love it.
Well, you have your fair share of unfortunate situations as well. We got one more clip here that we can show. Let's take a look. You never heard of the one-shot beatdown? You didn't know that trick?
Yeah, I don't really know.
Let's play that again.
We'll blame PC Reach for this one.
What is that, dude?
What is that? Actually, that's pretty wild. That's like a BXR in the Reach.
Yeah,
that was a BXR. Yeah.
It's Halo 2 Classic.
All right, what's that kid's gamer tag? We need to contact them.
Yeah, I've seen a few hackers recently. Even Halo 5, they've got like some like rapid fire aim, and you get melted in 2 seconds. Yeah, I don't know, man. People are finding ways. Unfortunate. It's not perfect. It is a 10-year-old game that we're playing. Mm-hmm. But despite that, you guys you have a whole new roster as well. Let's take a look at the team we got here. The tweet just came up recently. Falling Esports. We've got Neighbor, commonly Sabotator, and Hysteria is a Sabinator. I don't know how to pronounce it. And you got Ghost Ayami as the coach. This is a pretty awesome squad, guys. Tell me about how this came together. And you got the 2 young gods there. Or I don't know if I'm giving them too much clout, but the Halo 5 kids that came up, and they're very talented.
Well, it was interesting because, leading up to this tournament, there were so many moving pieces with, what teams were going to be made, and a lot of things were tried out. And it got to the point where, like at the last Halo 3 event, I teamed with Sab. It was me, Sab, Falcated, and Dragonite, Donnie, who I love. But Sab and I, we ended up sticking together, and we were trying to figure out, what exactly we were going to do. Ace was someone that actually reached out to us. He went on this awesome trip to Asia. If you follow him on social medias, you could live vicariously, and it looked amazing. But he called us when he got back, and he said, let's try and find a 4th. Let's make this team. Okay. After some really good nights of practice, we get a call. Aaron received an offer that he couldn't turn down from a team that we played in scrims the night before, and so it's just one of those things that happens, and that's how Halo goes. Yeah, and you want to put your, like, unfortunately this is a business, and you want to put yourself in the best position that you feel comfortable with. So it's understandable. So then we were kind of in this like interesting situation where Sab and I were like, all right, what are we gonna do? And at that time as well, we were playing with Commonly. He was one of the people we were running with. And, if you know Hammy from, Halo 5, he is absolutely incredible, individually skilled. Yeah. One of the top players, in my opinion, individually. And so then it came to, so if that was the 3, we needed a 4th, and we needed a solid 4th that had experience. And we actually played with Rob the Turtle in one of the qualifiers where we did pretty well. We lost to Tox 3-2. And Rob is a great player. He actually, after playing with him, surprised the hell out of me. Like his skill and his knowledge of playing.
He's very talented.
Yeah, he's extremely well, and I know that he'll get on a really good team. But Jacob was available after the qualifier as well, and Jacob and I obviously have history, dating back from 2010 when we teamed for Halo 3 with Triggers Down. And so, I made that phone call, and let me tell you, it was very similar. If you guys out there have seen the montage, let's just say it was very similar. I said, let's do this. I dropped some lines from the montage on that phone call, and we're fortunate that Jacob is part of this team because obviously he has always been one of the most talented individuals in Halo. And I think his placings speak for itself. And his gameplay. And so now we're at a point where we have 4 really talented players, and we're trying to figure out how we can best optimize how we play as a team. So there's been some ups and downs. And right now, we're trying to really work hard to figure this out. And, we're hoping by Anaheim we'll be ready to go.
Yeah. Jacob, what do you think so far? These guys, they play well enough for you, or, you do okay?
I'm not too worried. I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah.
It should be a lot of fun. And there's a nice level of dedication. Like, we pretty much have been scrimming 6 out of 7 days a week. So that's more than you can say about, I guess 99% of Halo right now. I mean, it's a struggle to find more than one scrim, if anything. So the fact that they all want to be on every day is super nice. And refreshing.
Nice.
And I forgot to mention, by the way, we have another player on our team. And
we do. That's what I was going to ask.
Ghost Ayame. And, he's one of the legends of Halo. He's been around the scene for a long time as well. Jacob and I used to compete against him back in the Halo 2 MLG days when he was on Carbon. And, I used to live with him, but also work with him at 343. So the fact that he's back and he's bringing his knowledge to standing behind us and calling out for screens and providing his high level of Halo IQ will be very beneficial.
Have you guys been communicating with him like during the scrim period and the qualifiers, or is it just strictly for the tournament he's coming in to help you out?
Just strictly for the tournament. That's a great idea, ShyWay, and that's something that we might consider.
You gotta get a hold of him.
The thing is
the past broadcast together.
He did coach SQ when I was on Status Quo last year for Halo 3. He did coach us for the 343 Invitational where I think we placed 5th. And it for him it's like riding a bike. He knows the game, and he's a very intelligent person, so it's very easy for him to just slip right back into to that mindset.
Yeah, I mean, great to have somebody like that on your team with so much experience, for sure. Speaking of experience, you had mentioned going way back in the original Dualtage, playing together back in Triggers Down. We actually have the Dualtage in the background right here. Okay, I skipped the first 3 minutes, 49 seconds of this Dualtage. Do you guys remember the beginning of the Dualtage?
I was surprised that we didn't get nominated for like a Webby.
Oh my god, dude!
Because at that time, I mean, that was such a
it was a work of art.
Yeah, it really inspired the likes of many montages.
Dude, that's Mason's masterpiece right there.
Yeah,
it was so fun shooting that. I'm not gonna lie, it was so stupid. And obviously, like now that we're older, I'm just like, why do we do that? But at the same time, it's hilarious, and I love it. And maybe part 2 will be coming. Who knows?
People will never forget it for that reason. To be fair,
with the opening cinematic.
It's not just like the rest of them,
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, you should know, and you should go back on YouTube and check it out if you haven't. But there's you get to see a bit of a day in the life of Hysteria neighbor. They're with their girlfriends.
Candlelit pizza dinners, making out all the beneficial. Yeah,
that was. It was odd seeing that, but
Shadow, let me just tell you this. You know how beneficial that was for my personal life. Like I'd be like, yeah, I'm on the YouTube, and I show a girl, and it's like, wow.
Right.
Okay.
Right. You got to show, any girl
this
that
guy has skill.
Yeah. Or something, and then first date, it's like, oh yeah, here's what I do, and she sees you macking some girl right before your Halo montage. Yeah,
that's his master plan the whole time, right there.
But on the flip side, there have been some embarrassing moments. I remember when I was at 343, it was played on the big screen at one of the times, and it was not good. Yeah, that was.
So it came back to bite you a bit.
Well, I mean, depends on how you look at it.
But
So,
okay, so removing that part, I skipped to the gameplay because the
sure.
gameplay is beautiful. You guys are crazy at this game. You're like
Hmm.
got back-to-back overkills here. Tell me a bit. Like, take me 10 years back. 2010 triggers down. What's it like? What's a day in the life like? How are you grinding all day every day? Do you live near each other? Do you land together? I know you had the LAN network.
Yeah.
Hysteria. Tell me a bit about what it was like back then.
Uh, well, we lived like 20 minutes away from each other. Well, the first half of 2010, I was still in high school. So, like, I think, how many times do you think a week? Like, maybe like once or twice I'd drive up.
Hmm.
But and then once I graduated, we were teaming with Tots. We spent a lot of time in Chicago,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
that whole last year wasn't, because it was over 2 years into Halo 3. It wasn't like a hardcore like schedule or anything. It was mainly LAN focused because we'd have two like 16 LANs before each event. Like
Right.
the online practice was more just like keeping your shot fresh, I guess. There wasn't really a lot of online scrimming,
Okay.
and so it really was just, making sure everyone was on top of their play individually, and then you'd play 100 games in one, for 2 weekends in a row right before the tournament,
Right.
and everyone would be on point after that. So
Right.
uh,
Damn. So a lot of like individual grinding, keeping your shot up online, but then the LAN stuff is where it gets serious. You guys
right.
spent a lot of time in the LAN network as well, right?
Oh yeah.
Prepping for tournaments.
I mean,
What was that like?
we'd be there for 2 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks straight, and then
Damn.
go straight to the tournament from there.
Yeah. I think sometimes longer than that too. I mean,
Right.
we
Yeah.
were. I mean, and it was a gamer's dream because the
Yeah.
Pinocchio family is the most welcoming people, and they're awesome. And so their house was incredible. Number one, number two, it was built for gamers. Like their basement, they had rally car like arcade type setups
Yeah.
downstairs, NBA
So sick.
Jam. And so yeah, I mean we would go down there, we'd play video like those kinds of games. All the top Halo teams would be there. We'd Oh shit, my dog's gonna bark.
God.
We'd eat
Yeah,
food.
same.
Hey, hey, hey. Okay, I gotta take care of this.
Yeah, you got it. Wants to be in the show as well. You bring him on. Oh, kidding. Yeah. So we still got the dual touch in the background. From there, we're gonna go to okay. Hold up. I've got some specific clips we're gonna look at together as well, but I'm gonna wait for Daber to get back before we get there.
Don't worry,
And
my dog's barking too.
yeah, you got to keep them settled. Do you remember like your experience back with triggers down in these tournaments, like in comparison to now, like where was your head at in terms of what you wanted from your career with Halo? You know what I mean? Like
I mean, in Halo 3, it was first place or bust, pretty much. Like,
right.
there was no second wasn't acceptable.
Yeah.
And that just like there was a lot. The first year, I mean, I had a couple wins. I think Mason had a win the first year, but there was the game was fresh, and there was a lot of team changes. I mean, we literally won a tournament and then sniped down left, kind of, like it
Yeah.
was chaotic. And then like it was pretty much just, if you I think the
Set off.
top five, I think the top 5 or 6 teams were the same way. Like if you didn't win,
They would
and
just split.
right, and you didn't think that you had the capability to win, like
Mhm.
there was a change, there was a roster change.
Yeah. You guys had a really close call. It was I'm trying to remember the
DC.
specific. Was it DC? Yeah, and you were in
The-
grand finals winner's side.
Yep.
And
They,
Final Boss made that comeback. That was must have been a bit of a rough one, but that was
They-
I think your closest moment right there, right?
They iced us hard.
Yeah.
That tournament, they had winners finals Saturday night. So we had 24 hours between winners finals and finals.
Man.
And FB had a 5-hour losers bracket run, and they get
Right.
to play.
They're warm.
We're like
Mhm.
we're like offering to pay a team to warm up against us because everyone is knocked out of the tournament.
Right.
So like we're like, well, I don't know what to do. I mean, and they were obviously the best team at the time, anyways.
Yeah.
I think if we, because we had, I think we had a pretty good lay-in score against FB in general. I think we matched up fairly well against them, but like they were on fire and we were not come finals, so they just destroyed us. But I mean, second place was. It didn't feel that bad when the only loss was to the team that essentially won all three at the end of that year. But it definitely hurt
when you're that close.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, things with Halo Reach kind of took that downward turn. I think Halo Reach is when it started to get a little less exciting for you guys.
Sure.
But now that you're playing Reach again, do you feel that drive to kind of, get back that number one placing? Like Halo Reach was kind of a lower point coming off of Halo 3. Do you think you can kind of reverse that now, especially with the team that you have now?
I mean, I think so. I mean, we're definitely, putting in the practice to, try and compete for that first place finish. What's challenging is these are, these tournaments in comparison to MLG events during that time. Those events were just, there was a lot of prestige behind it and a lot of meaning. Although these tournaments do have meaning, it just doesn't hold the same weight, in my opinion. With that being said, we're competitors. We want to win. But it's just different times. And so, like I said, we're putting in the work, and we do want to, be up, at the top at this event, but there is a lot of good competition, and we're obviously not overlooking any team because, if you look at the qualifying placements from the last couple of weeks, we've been in the top 6 or top 8 consistently, and we haven't really, we need to break that streak. However, it is a little bit, I think, more challenging for us because we have 3 West Coast players. So when we play against a team, for example, like Ryan Noob's team, who we played last week, and they're hosting from Florida, there's some frustrations. But that goes both ways, obviously, right? Because when we get hosts, it's challenging for the other team as well. But it'll be interesting. When this game reminds me of Halo 3 Online, where there's a lot of kind of shenanigans can happen. And so, I'm really excited to see how this game plays. It's going to be totally different. We're on PCs. We've never played on PCs before. Hopefully the equipment's up to par, which I'm sure it is because DreamHack does a really good job at that.
They do.
So I think we're all looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm really hoping, especially with the transition over to PCs, you guys get like just a better quality experience. Like playing through the entire time. There's no, I don't want to get into the whole discussion on it, but any potential latency issues or an Xbox malfunctioning. It's all on PC. Let's hopefully everything is smooth and runs well. As far as your qualifier performance, you seem to do pretty well. Just the team that took you out was the team that got second place, Ryan Noob's team, as far as the last qualifier goes. I watched the series and I grabbed a couple clips, and I was wondering if you guys wanted to take a look at some of this with me. We've got the first one's from Battle Creek. Now, in Battle Creek, your series, you guys, somebody joined the game like midway through or whatever, and they were winning at the time. So you said, okay, you only have to play to 160 and we'll play to 250. You guys were playing way better the second time around, though. And the moment that we're looking at is your control of the Rocks Hill, which you do a pretty good job controlling the Rocks Hill in this one sequence. So let's take a look at that together. Should come up. There we go. And then just tell me a bit about kind of like what's going through the mind of you guys in this moment here when you make this transition. So Hysteria spawning up, and you're looking to control the Rocks Hill right here.
So I think for Beaver, at least, the most important thing is red base, and then you have so you have 3 on that side of the map, and then kind of 1 person lurking. So like a lot of the time, if we have all 4 at red, we'll port someone through behind, that kind of thing,
or maybe we won't.
All right.
We'll have
one person.
That's the thing too. If you have a specific, I don't want to give away secrets or whatever.
Strat or anything. I mean, everything is literally streamed.
The general rule of thumb is what we're kind of talking about.
General rule of thumb is we have red base, and then
red base
it's literally that's every game type, right? You have your 2 or 3 people doing like holding down what you want, and then you have your lurker. But
nice clean up here.
I think when we say red base too, we want to make sure we're on top of the red base because the bases do have differences. And the red base has the slant in the back that you can use to really utilize head glitching and just putting like really good shots in across the map.
Right, exactly. Taking advantage of people who port over to the other side, and then even the archway, the way the archway is shaped favors red side.
Yeah, that's definitely always been a one-sided map. You know,
ever since Halo 2.
I mean, this is like the third or fourth version of Battle Canyon, or Beaver Creek, whatever you want to call it. So it's definitely not a new thing to hold red side of the map.
Yeah.
It's a shame we didn't play the first half of the game like we did in this one.
Yeah,
and not
definitely
ourselves
bummer.
Yeah, it looks like if this continued, you definitely would have won it. But yeah, definitely you're right. You're prioritizing red side here. You try to get people in the spots like top archway. If you can get somebody up on snipe as well, that's great. Yeah, you had a really good moment there. I guess we can't pick it apart without it on screen. But the one I do want to see a little bit more in detail is the countdown gameplay, because countdown, you guys kind of struggled a bit. There was one sequence within 2 minutes where they get 3 flags, you guys get 1. Yeah. So this one I definitely want to take a look at and try to break down a little bit and see what you think here. At the beginning of this, I don't know if we can pause it. I don't know how much control we have, John. But when Hysteria, it seems paused here. When Hysteria spawns up here, you've got Neighbor, you're above, up on the third. He's got commonly spawns with him, and you got Sab over on the opposite side rocks there. He's going to make an insert through big door. And then watch how it plays out. Let me know what you guys think about kind of how it went down. If you think it could have, gone differently.
A little bit of slow-mo here.
Yeah, let's go. You got yourself in a rough spot. And then meanwhile, Sab's going for the pole. But commonly's ISO on rockets. And Neighbor, you're there to try to help him with the pole. What do you think of the way that this went, though?
So, I think I don't know if we end up capping. I think a lot of our issue is like overextending flag caps and not, giving it up. I think that we make a lot of the right decisions, and sometimes it just doesn't go our way. Like, I spawned and literally went back to our flag and died getting shot in the back immediately. If I had looked and we had killed him there, then the whole thing's gonna play out different.
Yeah,
I think we talked about it after the tournament. Like, a lot of this, we played it well, and in countdown in general, it's very chaotic. And like you said, like you can cap 3 flags in 2 minutes, like without much like that the other team can do. If you don't get a good spawn to stop the flag, you can get run over and get double and triple capped on it. It's not like Sank flag where they got to kill the whole team 3 times just to get 1 flag. You can run over teams on countdown extremely quickly.
Yeah, and especially playing against a team like Ryan Noob. He's very methodical in these flag pulls that are kind of scrappy, that can catch a team off guard if you're not positioned correctly. And so it's just one of those things. You always have to be cautious about the guy, because whether he's sneaking or doing some nerdy play, he's really good at disrupting the flow that your team's trying to get into. And I think a lot of the caps, they had some great relays where, we'll kill them all and then they'll be able to stop our, kind of counter cap really well. So it's just kind of finding that balance and not letting them use that strategy against us.
If we run it back real quick to the producer, if you can restart it, I have a thought on like how it could go down alternatively. I don't know if we could get it to restart. But what do you guys think of a rock side flag run for the beginning there?
Going big door.
Yeah. So you all kind of spawn outside. If you just all OE'd through rock side, and rocks were coming up as well, and then went for the rocks, the rock side run, you think that's an effective way to make it work as well? Because if we can replay it, it'd be easier to explain. But
I think the biggest thing that
here it is right here.
Because there was a guy in our base, so I'm not sure how well.
So Hysteria, I'm thinking, maybe you would have had to stay back, but then commonly B lines up through rocks, and you got Sab on rock side. Neighbor stays up on third with an angle, and then you prioritize running at rocks, and you pick up rocks as well. So that way you have the rocket secured. The big issue is Sab ends up going for the run through neighbor, like through the side the neighbor's on snipe side, and Commonly's left ISO with the rockets. He dies, and then they pick up rocks and they take you out. It's probably hard in this format to go through.
Well, I mean, when you watch this, there's definitely you make some good points. I mean, I think that's an issue that we've noticed with our team is when to grab the power weapons and how to position ourselves around that. And like one of the flag runs they stopped is like right here. We knew rockets were coming up. We knew when rockets were coming up, and we just let them all spawn big door and push straight into our flag from training. And that's something we're we talked about that exact situation, and I think we're more aware of what we're going to do if that were to occur again, especially at that time. We try to force, I think, way too many things.
This is good though for the counter to start, right? So you have somebody blocking big door, and then he's running it through snipe, but then watch, he takes it out front over to danger. I wonder if he took it where Hysteria was instead, it would have been a safe run instead of going down.
Yeah,
right? Exactly. We literally talked that exact thing about how
little things like that, right?
Like yeah.
Because then you lost so many men on that counter that it got an instant counter right back on you.
Right.
Yeah. And a lot of that also goes to our communication. If things are frustrating, things are happening. We don't communicate like it's exactly like like we would at a tournament, directing that flag runner to say, "Hey, come jet to me," or maybe we did and someone missed the call out. It's just one of those things. We did talk about that situation because we definitely played that incorrectly.
Well, it's one of those things that like it's so difficult in the moment. It's easy to look back and be like, oh yeah, maybe this was correct. You know what I mean? But right when you're there in the moment, you're trying to react to these callouts and these plays. Like it's brutal. Like it's very hard to pull it off. But it's interesting to see in hindsight, like how you can lock down these areas. And I wonder, if prioritizing a rock side run, it is slower, it takes longer, and it's more open. But in certain, at certain times, it actually seems like it might be the way, like it might be the route that could work out.
It could be. I think what's challenging is the fact that the majority of the spawns can really stop that flag run.
Definitely.
Whether it's like they spawn the outside door, if they spawn S2 jet, it's just those nades coming in from up there. It really can delay that whole movement. But I think at times it could be a viable run. I'm not saying that it's not. It's just you have to prepare for the situations of a team flanking your back ramp of a lot of factors. So
it's like that's the nature of Halo, right? You have these ideas on what is the best thing to do, but then there's like, well, there's this situation where we should run a big door. There's this situation where we run a window. There's a majority of times where one certain thing is the best, but when you go back and you look, and it's like, well, if we ran the flag big door here, we definitely would have capped. But you can look at it the other way too. Like we ran a big door and we didn't cap because of it. So it's really, like you said, it's hard in that moment to know. There's a lot of hindsight in Halo. I mean, it's unfortunate. We were talking about the other day that there's no working theater mode.
I know this is the worst thing about the game.
And so we're like sitting trying to go over stuff, like sifting through my VOD. I'm the only one streaming.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I don't know what Mason or I don't know what Sap's doing.
Like, where is he?
Like, we can't even tell what happened to him because we don't have his screen. Yeah. Or I think it was literally in that series, right? I think it was Sank Flag.
You guys tried to go back after
they got a touch on a pole that they ended up capping that they never should have. And we literally
don't know how they did it.
No one could figure out how he got to the flag.
Yeah.
We have no idea how it happened. We tried to watch it and we couldn't figure it out at all. So like really, it's really frustrating because you want to go, like, you don't want to focus on the super situational stuff, right? The whole what ifs, but it's nice to see where something would or wouldn't have worked, but it's so much harder to do it without being able to go back and watch and see where everyone is on the map.
Yeah, I completely agree. The only remedy is to have everybody stream, but that might not be ideal if you want to play your best or if you don't want to show the whole world how you're playing as a team or whatever it is.
Right. And
I understand the limitations there.
You can't even look at the other team's spawns or what they do off spawn to it's like, oh, let's go back and watch how they
how are the spawns reacting to these
how did they break our setup off of spawn? Well, I don't actually know who the first spawner was and where he went. So
right. It's
I guess we
unfortunate.
can guess. We could try to guess what they did.
Do you guys feel like you have a good idea on how the spawns are working in Reach so far? Like any like big differences in comparison to Halo 3?
I mean, it's completely different.
Yeah.
But I think we're getting a good grasp on the spawn system,
Yeah.
especially in flag game types.
Yeah.
We don't have that many. I guess the biggest one would be Sank, where you try to run at rocks and they're spawning. There's almost no situation where we get caught off guard by it. I mean, even if we don't properly execute it, we at least we give each other the correct information with spawns in flag game types almost the entirety of our scrims, it seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and credit to Hammy, because Hammy is, prior to back in the day when Reach was, just starting, he was, at least the story he told me is he was like the 1v1 guy. You know how I was the 1v1 guy on Guardian? He was the 1v1 guy in Reach. I didn't really play Reach 1v1s, but his spawn knowledge on that map is absolutely incredible. And if you get a chance to play him in a 1v1, you won't have a fun time because you can get in this trap where you just die immediately.
Yeah.
From hut to flag to rocks back to hut. It's very frustrating. So he definitely has that understanding that our team knows is generally based off of, I think, his experience, and it's been very helpful. So.
Yeah, the spawns really seem to prioritize like a specific cycle that you can kind of predict. I'm sure Commonly has that down. It's interesting for sure. But nice to see you guys grinding and thinking about this stuff, and getting the game up for DreamHack Anaheim. Let's take a look at those qualifier results and some of these rosters here. What do you guys think of these teams? Hopefully we get the image. There we go. Of course, you got Mantra, who just won with Boo Boo, Ace, Fallicated, Spartan. Are there any like new names or any teams that you think are really kind of jumping out at you as big competitors going forward in this event?
King Nick on our noobs team, very talented player, and I maybe played Halo 5. I'm not too sure if he was in the Halo 5 pro scene or not, but he's extremely talented. I mean, if you look at the names up on this list, I mean, I think that there's the skill level is could be arguably higher than what we were facing in when we were playing Halo 3. I mean, obviously, we don't have the snipe downs, we don't have the Roy lunchbox, but
sure.
I mean, all these really top individual pros that competed in Halo 5, like the Neptunes, the Saiyans, the Renegades, Eco's team, like they're all very good at this game, and so which makes it exciting. It makes it exciting to play against high level competition. But it'll be interesting. I'm pretty sure there'll be quite a few upsets and at this event, and so that will definitely be an exciting thing to watch out for.
Yeah, I hope so. What do you guys think of the mouse and keyboard controller kind of situation? Hysteria, you have a clip that you hit recently saying mouse and keyboard is just it's like snoozing when you're playing with the sniper. Right here, getting this overkill was too easy. Do you guys think we're going to see any mouse and keyboard coming up in this tournament?
I think the only time we'd see it is if Lethal wants to just really dominant and say, you know what, we're up 2-0 in this series.
Right.
I'm gonna put it in because I played against him on mouse and keyboard, and he's annoyingly good. So I could see him busting that out. As for I think everyone else within the top 8 right now is controllers. So we'll see. I'm sure there'll be some god that comes out that is just hitting every snipe shot. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see who brings
it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it
to play on mouse right now because 90% of your situations are with DMR, and it's way easier. It's not even that mouse and keyboard is bad, right? Like you can. I don't feel there's any lag or anything. It's not an input like issue that it's broken or something. There's no heavy aiming or input lag. It's just like infinitely easier to 5-shot on controller, and you can hit all the no scopes in the world on mouse, but at the end of the day, you're not spawning with a sniper. So it's just it's an easy choice to make, and I think I think it's Reach specifically that it's not worth it. I mean, we'll see with other games. I mean, the Halo 2 potential on keyboard and mouse is insane.
Why do you think that?
With double shotting and quad shotting, I think would be way easier on mouse.
Do you think on keyboard it's going to be easier to input those things? Like when you think about like, yeah.
I mean, obviously the only thing that double shotting in general wasn't that common in like tournament play just because it was high risk. All right, you know what I mean. It's not like everyone on the planet could be XR and all that stuff was being utilized nonstop versus double shotting was a situational type of thing. But
the excessive shot or whatever.
Right.
What will be interesting too is people will be able to jump in double shot while still aiming, and that was the biggest thing about double shotting is you really couldn't aim while doing it because not many people clawed.
Claw, right?
Yeah. So yeah, that will be definitely very interesting.
That's gonna be crazy.
Right. Exactly. And you can hotkey it to whatever you feel comfortable with.
Oh my god, dude! Sounds kind of broken now.
Right. Yeah. So that should be interesting. And then I guess the future of keyboard and mouse, I feel like it should end up being the go-to for Infinite because that is releasing with native keyboard and mouse support. So
yeah,
like generally that when a game comes out with both of those, mouse is stronger. But I don't think that that's going to be an issue for like competitive. I mean, look at Tox is our like undisputed best team right now. Obviously, they didn't win the last qualifier, but they won the first two. And I think the only one that hasn't messed around on keyboard and mouse and been extremely good is APG. Like if you've watched the throwback tournaments, like Royalty, Snakebite, and Lethal are all insane on keyboard and mouse as well. So like if people are worried about controller not being good in Infinite or keyboard and mouse being too strong, it's really, I don't think any of the pros would be affected by that. I mean, even Mason here, like we used to play Counter-Strike every day. Like most people aren't shy of keyboard and mouse either. So I think for the future of the game, they need keyboard and mouse to be strong.
Yeah.
So I think that was part of the reason why Reach is like dying out so quickly is because keyboard and mouse is super outshined by controller.
Right, and a lot of it comes back down to aim assist, though, right? So, like with Infinite, if the aim assist settings are the same, do you think we could run into the same kind of issue, or is it the gun as well, right? Like if we get a BR that's a burst rifle that shoots slower, then that could change it, right?
I think that the gun affects it, yeah.
The gun's a big part, yeah.
But I think Reach itself has stronger aim assist than any other Halo.
On PC, yeah, like when you're at a higher frame rate as well. It just
I don't know what caused it, but
yeah.
Especially if it's like a Halo 5 type of game, like which it seems to be going in that direction. Like I don't think aim assist was too crazy in Halo 5. So I don't know if they've had enough time on the game that they should at least be able to balance inputs.
Hopefully.
Above anything else.
Yeah.
Like you throw like the decision making and all of that out the window and just solely focus on them having smooth inputs on controller and keyboard and mouse. Like they should be able to have no issue with that.
Well, hopefully, but an issue too with Halo 5 is, Halo 5 was on PC, but it was very challenging to be able to pull off the type of movement that game, needed. Right. And so I think it'll be really interesting. I think the pro team that they have right now has a good balance of players, with the pros that they have, but also they have people there that are really good with the mouse and keyboard, like high level type players. So yeah, it'll be. I think we're all looking forward to seeing if they can do it right, because that will be the big challenge, in my opinion.
Yeah, like you said about the pro team, it does seem like it's a really healthy mix of not just mouse and keyboard players, but people who are fans of very specific Halo games. Like you got your Halo CE, like really high level players, and people who might have come from Halo 2 or Halo 3. Like seems like there's a good mix of talent there that have that like different Halos and are talented at different Halos. So that's really nice to see. What would you guys hope to see from Infinite? Of course, Infinite is the big game that we're waiting for. like how do you hope it kind of takes form as far as abilities or even just other things like ranking systems, stuff like that? What do you most hope to see from the game?
Go ahead, Jake.
I mean, I talk about it every time it gets brought up.
Yeah.
I'm sure Mason agrees too. Like we don't want like super advanced movement as far as like sprint and that stuff goes, but that's like it's not a make or break thing as far as whether or not it will be a good game.
Yeah.
I think as far as the player base being big, I think that goes back to like a balanced input and then a good ranking system and even just like a reason to play the game, which I think progression and like having good playlists is a huge deal.
Right.
Like Reach right now, there's one like I mean there is two other ranked playlists, but I mean those let's just say those don't really count. There's Team Hardcore or you
Right.
play social, you don't play anything else.
Yeah.
And to bounce off that, if you want to warm up or play no bloom, no sprint settings, so essentially the comp settings, you can't do it in social. Like there's no
you're kind of
there's
limited.
no everything is if you want to play no bloom, you play Team Sniper. So like they need to make sure that everything with playlists and like ranking is set up correctly.
Right. That's definitely huge. Being able to play the competitive settings, whether it's custom games, social, or whatever, like in a bunch of different environments. You don't have to just jump into, something like the competitive playlist cold.
Right.
And neighbor, you agree with wanting to have more of, I guess, not full crazy advanced movement. What do you think would be a sweet spot?
I mean, personally, I'm a classic Halo guy. I've always been a classic Halo guy. That formula to me has been tried and proven to work and has been successful. And if you want to use, the argument, well, it's during a time when there were very, few titles out, or it's when the Xbox was booming. That I think that's valid. But at the same time, the people that played that game loved playing that game, and there's a reason for that. And so I hope that with Infinite, they're able to recapture kind of that Halo feel. And appease to everyone. And I hope that the product is finished by launch. I think they hurt themselves when a form of like let's say Forge isn't in at launch or like Theater.
Right. Yep.
So I just hope that it's a very completed product, and I'm sure they're working hard to do so. And gameplay wise, like I said, I'm a classic guy, but at the same time, I'm a Halo fan at heart, so whatever is produced, I'll probably play it. And if it's one of those games that's a little too wild for me, then I most likely will stop playing. Since, like I said, I'm turning 30. But at the same time, like if it's a game that's in my ballpark that I feel like I'm confident in and I can compete in, then I'll give it a go.
Right. What do you think it is about advanced mobility that kind of takes it away from that Halo feel, like when there's too much?
I mean, it goes back to when Reach was dropped and Halo 4. I think the market that they were trying to appease to were the Halo players, but also games that had large fan bases that might think that, hey, I'm going to try this out. Which I think Halo 4 is a perfect example of that. I think with no D-scope, with sprint,
Halo 4
abilities, it was just really. I mean, and they said it too. And there was a vidoc where they said that they hired people specifically because they didn't like Halo. And I think you kind of you can gather that feeling because of when you're playing the game.
Sure.
Going back to your question, what makes it feel so foreign to me is that it doesn't have its own formula like the classic Halos did, where it's really like the gameplay at a competitive level came down to map positioning, outsmarting your opponent and your gun skill. Like those are the three kind of factors that really made it Halo player shine and unique from other players. But at the same time, the argument could be said that if you look at Halo 5, in someone like Shotzi, he was able to take that game and really showcase the high level of mobility and put it to a level where not many people can do that. I mean, I've tried to spring jump as consecutive, in consecutive times, like he does with his like thrust slide.
Yeah,
it's hard. It's not easy. And it takes a lot of practice. So,
yeah,
like I said, whatever product ends up coming out, I'm sure the Halo fans will be excited. But my big thing personally is I really hope the campaign kicks butt this time around.
Yeah,
I wasn't a big
one of the
fan
things.
of the last campaign, and I've kind of getting back into and playing co-op with some of my friends. I really look forward to see where they're taking the story. Because I think they have some great lore, and I'm a fan of the novels, and hopefully, they nail it up. They do a good job. We'll see.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the campaign is really going to sell the game overall. Like if that doesn't go well, then that hurts the majority of the population that even goes into multiplayer, right? Like Halo 5's marketing campaign, and then having the campaign not represent what the marketing was. And
that was an awesome campaigon. I loved it.
It was a great marketing campaign, but the game itself, the campaign didn't follow suit. It's like that can't happen. As far as what you meant about the Halo feel, I understand where you're coming from. If you take Halo Reach, for example, a very setup-based game, right? Power weapons are super important. High ground map positioning is super important. Your team has to set up in very specific locations to control the map and predict the flow of gameplay. Halo 5 is different, right? Halo 5 is good in its own right, but the advanced mobility allows for a new option that isn't available in classic Halo. It's explosive aggression, right? Like. Sure. It's the sprint combined with the thrust allows for this option where you can fly at your opponents, and aggressive tactics are so powerful that the best players will almost always choose aggression over controlling a specific point in the map. So you get a rotation style gameplay. So it's not to say that the Halo 5's gameplay is bad. It's that it's changed the formula of what Halo was, that being setup based, power weapon control, all of that. It's different now with Halo 5. So that's what I've recognized as the real dichotomy here. And I wonder if there's a way to have advanced mobility, but to preserve the formula. How do you make it so that, which I guess is what you guys are saying, it have advanced mobility, but don't make it so people are flying across the entire map. You still have to control specific portions of the map and power weapons and whatnot. But maybe you have a thrust, you can outplay your opponent. And
I like thrust, but I don't like sprint. So
I think finding that balance is important, but one item of mobility that we don't talk about enough that really breaks the classic formula is clamber. So clamber, in my opinion, is one of the most busted abilities that you can use, because on a map like Coliseum, you could be at the very bottom of the map, and if you take that comparison, and use it, let's say Halo 2, and you're pink 3, looking down on P1, you have a very large advantage, right?
Yeah.
In Halo 5, it doesn't really matter, because if you're down on the lowest point of the map, you can use clamber to really maneuver and get back up to the area of control in a second. And so that is something I would love to see removed from the game. I think clamber, although it feels good, like in campaign, I think it feels great to be able to climb up ledges. It does break the flow of how maps should play, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think clamber is too powerful. At the very least, it's too powerful. You know what I mean? If it's still there, then it needs to be tweaked, because the way that it works currently is the drop back, they call it the Cali clamber, whatever they call it, where you can clamber up, drop back, clamber back down. And if you're on the right ledge and you're spamming it, you can fire shots at people and they can barely see you. It's like it's nearly broken. It's too powerful.
Yeah, and there's so many different ways to balance that. Like whether it's a slower animation, or even for the abilities in general, to use an ability, you have to put your gun away. So then you can't just immediately shoot. There are ways that you can, I think, attack that situation, and hopefully that's something that is being considered.
Yeah. Random thought I was thinking is, let's say the clamber, it doesn't block you out of the ability to shoot. And when you do clamber, it's like a one arm that pulls your body up and it sends you up above the cover and you fall down on top of it.
Yeah.
So you can't do a drop back. You're up in the air and you're exposed. You can thrust if you want, but you're burning your lifeline. And if not, then you got to take that time to fall and try to hit your shots.
I mean, I'll tell you what, ShyWay, I would love to snipe some little gophers popping their heads up.
Right. Yeah.
At the bottom of the map. I love that.
Yeah. 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 So it would be awesome to see Halo make a comeback. And I guess to close the show, do you guys think they can make a comeback? I know Hysteria on your stream, people were saying Bungie can save Halo, and you said, nah, Bungie kind of got a little lucky with competitive multiplayer. When we look at our relationship with the community and the developer, do you think this is something that's improved a lot? And do you think there's potential for a comeback here?
I mean, they're definitely trying. They're whether it's a perfect line of communication or not between like the HCS team and like us, and then how much that even matters, right? They can listen to us all they want, like, but if they go in and the devs don't agree with it, like it doesn't matter, right? But I think just the fact that that line of communication exists anyways is better than nothing, right? Like I said with the Bungie thing, I mean, look at vanilla Halo 3. Like it's
Right.
borderline unplayable, right?
Yeah.
But like and us and MLG took it into our own hands to make that game good, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
the fact that we don't really have to worry about that, right? Like it's not gonna, well, like Halo 5 at the start was kind of rough with the automatic weapons and all that
Yes.
stuff and Spartan Charge and everything. I mean, that's the only time I played the game, and everyone always tells me about how much better it was after.
Yeah.
But I mean, even use that as an example, they clearly learned that that stuff can't be in.
Exactly.
And I think keeping the competitive game and the vanilla game similar is very important.
Sure.
Like Counter-Strike and League of Legends and all those mega popular games are almost the exact same. There's no
Yeah.
differences. But you can't, like, if you're gonna have that stuff, like, just take it out for comp. Like, you
Yeah.
could have Spartan charging and ground pounding and casual Halo 5 and AR start, and then take it out in comp, and it's still almost the exact same game.
Right.
There's going to be a very small difference, and it'll be easier for people to get into the competitive scene. So I think that there is hope for Infinite. And if you look at Twitch numbers and how many people played Reach the first week,
Yeah.
like, people want to play a good Halo. They want to
do.
play a Halo on PC. Like, it's just this, this specific game just wasn't it.
Right.
So I will say the launch was pretty smooth, right? There wasn't that many issues.
Which is
So
good. Yeah.
they didn't scare people off with that.
Yeah.
Because if it was an OG MCC launch all over again, I'd say there's
Oh, it'd be brutal.
It'd
be done.
It would have ruined Infinite's launch.
Yes.
Even
It
better.
would have.
And yeah, so like we don't have high hopes, right? Like we're all too
Yeah.
used to
Yeah.
not being let down, but just not getting like the game we want. If you don't count Halo 5 as a Halo, it is a good game.
Yeah.
Like you guys were talking about how it doesn't feel the same.
Right.
Like if you took Halo out of the name and just played it, like
Oh, it's
it's
great.
a good game, it's a good competitive game.
Love it.
It's just
Yeah.
not the same, right?
Yeah.
So like let's just assume that Infinite's the same way, right? It's going to be, as long as it's a good game. If it doesn't feel like Halo, like us older people are going to be more upset, but there's still a lot of people that love Halo 5, and as long as the launch is smooth and the game works like Mason was saying, and it launches with everything including
Yes.
Theater and Forge and all that, like I think it'll be in a good spot, and I think we will see success for content creators and being able to make our living with Halo. So I think the problem now is just the wait and how long it's going to be.
Yeah. I
Sure.
completely agree.
Yeah, I mean, I have a bias. I have a very biased opinion. Like, I really think that they're going to put out a good product, just because the fact that I had the fortunate opportunity to work at the studio,
Yeah. You believe in
and
the team. Yeah.
and I believe in everyone that they have there, and I think the pro team that they now have is really passionate. They're all really passionate about trying to help build this great product. And to work at that studio, you have to have the credentials, man. You have to know your stuff, and the people at 343, they know their stuff, and they love what they're working on. So I think they want to, they're striving to make a game that will appeal to the fan base, and whether it's a classic game, that appeals to us, that'd be awesome. But if it's something else, I'm sure it will still be really good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's potential. I think it could happen. It's possible that we could get some kind of a comeback here, especially having Halo land on PC for the first, or not Halo Infinite, a brand new game made for PC for the first time. And like you said, if they release a complete package and they release something that can be changed and iterated upon if necessary, if there's something that's crazy that doesn't work for competitive, please, can we take it out quickly?
To backpack
Sure.
off that, like a side note. Halo 2 and Halo 3 had major balance patch that came out
right
2 to 3 months after for each one.
It can happen,
And I don't think that's a bad thing.
Right.
Like that just means that okay, we tried this, didn't work out, let's fix it kind of thing, instead of sticking to nope, this is how we release the game, you're stuck with it. It's as long as they are willing to do stuff like that as well, then yeah, there's a huge ceiling for how good the game could be.
Yeah. Well, I hope it happens. We got almost a whole year to wait to figure it out.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Falling Esports, you guys got an incredible roster. I'm so excited to see you guys play. I know you have scrims coming up next. Is that the next thing to do tonight?
Yeah, and about 40 minutes here.
Yep.
Playing Falcated and Aces team, the winner of the last qualifier.
Let's
so
go.
It's a
There
big
you go.
one. Yeah.
Well, hopefully we can see at least one of you guys streaming it. Maybe Hysteria. We can get
I'll be on. Yeah.
Awesome. Sounds good. So keep grinding, guys. Looking forward to seeing you in Anaheim, and hopefully it's an amazing event. First time Halo on PC in an event. Should be pretty exciting. Thank you so much for joining me, guys, and looking forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah,
thanks
Alex.
Yeah, no problem. All right, that's everything for today's episode of HCS Weekly. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Remember, if you like this episode and you want to watch more, you can always check on YouTube, youtube.com/UGC events. This VOD will go up on youtube.com. You can also check in the past broadcasts of this Twitch page, of course, as well. You can also listen to this podcast, I guess, on the go on Apple Podcasts. You've got Spotify, Google Podcasts, all the different apps. It's available for you to listen to it and enjoy. That's everything for today's episode of HCS Weekly. Have a nice evening, and I'll see you again next week.